Anyone visiting New York City can see her, but not everyone knows that Lady Liberty has her own secrets. One of them is she might not even be a lady at all. It's really hard to picture it, but the statue actually arrived from France on June 17, 1885, in over 300 copper pieces. The precious cargo was traveling in 214 crates on the French ship Isère. It was standing in Madison Square Park for 6 years to help raise money to sponsor the pedestal. When the ship carrying the statue arrived, 200,000 people came to welcome it to the U.S. The official dedication ceremony took place on October 28, 1886, with President Grover Cleveland presiding over it.
We are the keepers of the flame of liberty. We hold it high tonight for the world to see, a beacon of hope, a light unto the nations, joy and celebration. And with a prayer that this lamp shall never be extinguished, I ask that you all join me in this symbolic act of faith, this lighting of Miss Liberty's torch.
First, French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi raised funds in his country to build the statue. It wasn't actually sponsored by the local government. When it was finished, the sculptor offered it as a gift to the U.S. on one condition: they would build a pedestal for it. The federal government didn't like the idea, so the status of the statue was unclear. Then, American newspaper magnate Joseph Pulitzer stepped in. He basically started one of the first massive crowdfunding campaigns in history, promising every contributor an honorary shout-out in his newspapers. Even though 80% of the donations were small ones from middle-class citizens, Pulitzer managed to collect the necessary amount from over 120,000 donors. By the way, the famous sonnet, "The New Colossus," which can still be found on a bronze plaque inside the statue, was also part of the fundraising campaign. The Statue of Liberty is made of copper, so it was originally about the same color as a penny. According to the New York Historical Society, it turned completely green because of oxidation in 1920. There was a time when it was half brown and half green. The new color survived the restoration, and they say the coating, called patina, won't ever disappear. The statue was originally supposed to serve as a lighthouse for ships sailing into New York Harbor, and 2 years after it arrived in the U.S., it actually became one. For 16 years, Bartholdi offered to cover the entire statue in gold to make it brighter. Congress said no to that idea since it would have been crazy expensive. It's easy to notice the statue has 7 spikes on its crown, symbolizing universal liberty across the 7 oceans and continents. The less obvious reference to the number 7 is in the number of windows in its head. There are 25 of them, which makes 7 if you add up the digits. There are 16 leaves around the torch, and the monument itself is 151 feet tall. The sum of both of those digits is 7 as well. Clearly, that number meant a lot for the statue's creators. The pedestal of the Statue of Liberty was built in Old Fort Wood on Liberty Island. It currently hosts museums that show the history of the statue with old photographs, videos, recorded oral histories, and the original torch Lady Liberty was holding in 1886. Famous engineer Alexander Gustav Eiffel, sound familiar? Helped design the steel internal framework to keep the statue stable. It's strong enough to withstand around 600 bolts of lightning a year. When the wind is high, the statue can sway by around 3 inches, and its torch about 5 inches. 354 steps lead up to the crown of Lady Liberty, which is open to visitors, but the torch is off-limits. It was kinda claustrophobic and very cool. There's a popular theory claiming that the Statue of Liberty was originally supposed to be dressed as an Arab peasant woman and stand at the southern opening of Egypt's Suez Canal. The ruler of Egypt couldn't afford it, so Bartholdi redesigned it, giving it a different dress and a new name, and sent it as a gift to the American people to celebrate the anniversary of the American Revolution. Bartholdi himself was a Freemason. He represented the French Grand Orient Temple Masons, hence his interest in Egypt. He supposedly wanted to put the statue there to symbolize the Orient showing the way. The torch Lady Liberty is holding is an important symbol in the Masonic culture as the Torch of Enlightenment or the Flaming Torch of Reason. The Masons also took part in the cornerstone laying ceremony in 1884, and the Grand Master, William A. Brodie, presided over it in the company of Grand Lodge members. When you think of the Statue of Liberty, do you see it as a she? Most people are positive it's a representation of the Roman goddess of freedom, Libertas. The widely accepted theory is that Bartholdi modeled her face after his mother. Author and journalist Elizabeth Mitchell, however, claims that the sculptor actually used his brother's face as a model. As she was studying the photographs of Bartholdi's family, the writer noticed his mother had a different eyebrow shape, thinner nose and lips, and smaller mouth. Then she pointed out the striking resemblance between the sculptor's brother in his adult years and the statue. Another theory was presented by French writer Nathalie Salmon, who claims Lady Liberty was modeled after her ancestor Sarah Salmon. According to her, Bartholdi saw Sarah's features particularly beautiful,